This is Techno, a show about innovations that can change lives.
The science of fighting a wildfire.
We're going to explore the intersection of hardware and humanity, and we're doing it in a unique way. This is a show about science
Oh my God.
by scientists. Tonight, saving the macaw.
I'm in the Peruvian Amazon, and we're on the search for endangered macaws.
Now Techno is on a one-of-a-kind mission.
Look at those wings.
The macaw, graceful, elegant, and in some parts of the world, endangered. It's a race against time
So the climber up top just yelled down saying that she saw a lightning strike.
to save a species.
It's time to hurry up.
I'm Phil Torres, I'm an entomologist. I do much of my research in this jungle.
Oh my goodness.
I'll share my findings with Marita Davison. She's an environmental biologist, and Dr. Crystal Dilworth, a molecular neuroscientist. That's our team. Now let's do some science.
It's all worth it.
Hey guys, welcome to Techno. I'm Phil Torres, joined by Dr. Crystal Dilworth and Marita Davison. So guys, picture this. You are deep in the rainforest of Peru when suddenly a flock of red and blue magnificent creatures takes off in front of you. They are beautiful, but let me tell you, they don't start out so pretty.
You have to be talking about macaws. I'm a bird biologist, so in my day I've seen a lot of baby birds, and I have to admit, I mean, they are bald and can be pretty ugly, but I mean, it's almost so ugly that they're cute.
Macaws are so associated with the rainforest. It's kind of like their mascot, but they're not so ubiquitous anymore. They're an endangered species and they're at risk because of habitat loss.
Absolutely, because when the habitat is in trouble, these birds are in trouble. And we joined a team of scientists down there that are working hard to make sure that doesn't happen. Let's take a look.
Dazzling, elusive, charismatic. Macaws are undeniably stars of the rainforest, and there's a special place in Peru where it's still possible to see macaws in all their wild glory. That is, if you don't mind a little travel.
We're heading to the Tambopata Research Center, a place so deep in the Peruvian Amazon, it's taken us 2 days on this boat just to get there.
There are 16 species of macaws left in the wild, down from more than 20. The populations of all of the species remaining are on the decline. 7, such as the blue-throated macaw, in danger of becoming extinct. Why? Because of deforestation. Close to 300,000 square miles of Amazon rainforest gone since 1978 for timber, agriculture, and mining. Then there's the illegal pet trade. It's not easy being one of the world's most beautiful birds.
They'll pack these juvenile macaws in tubing to smuggle them, and more than half of the individuals will die during this process.
Annie Hawkinson is a field leader for the Macaw Project at the Tambopata National Reserve. She's one of a team of researchers who are using science to save the macaws.
Why study macaws?
Macaws are a very special animal because they're very intelligent, and yet they face a lot of threats in their habitats.
Today's mission takes us deep into the reserve, where those threats are constantly at play.
We're right in the middle of the breeding season.
Tambopata is essentially a giant laboratory in the wild. 6 species of macaws inhabit this 1,000+ square miles of rainforest. Rain is a constant in winter, but too much rain can be a problem. Today, we're going to see how a pair of 2-week-old macaw chicks are faring. The odds are against both of them surviving. Examining the chicks is a delicate and daring operation. While lead veterinarian Elizabeth Portugues Luyo preps for the chick exams on the ground, Annie Hawkinson gets ready to climb to their nest above. I don't like heights, but with nests close to 100 feet up, the team has no choice but to climb. Macaws like deep cavities high up in old-growth trees. Those spots are hard to come by even in a protected forest like Tambopata. The scarcity of nests leads to deadly fights between nesting macaw parents and other macaws looking for a home.
They will kill chicks, they will harm the parents, and they may cause such a disruption that the parents might be unwilling to return to the nest.
That's why the Macaw Project is researching man-made nests like this one, called Mandy Lou. Once Annie reaches the nest, she opens a special door to access the chicks, separate from the opening the adult macaws use to get in and out. Inside, our first peek at the hope for the next generation of macaws.
Coming up.
The frail, pale chick is not what you'd expect, but it is alive and Annie needs to get it down to the ground quickly. Safety is paramount for these vulnerable chicks. Annie uses sanitizer on her hands to protect them from germs. The bucket that will take them down is warmed with a hot water bottle because these chicks have no protection against the cold.
Okay, letting go.
Dr. Portugues Luyo first weighs the chick and then photographs it. And yes, this is what a macaw looks like in the first weeks of his life. No hint of the jungle beauty it will become. This chick is the first of the two to hatch. Like its sibling, it's named after its nest, Mandy Lou.
Mandy Lou 1 tiene 13 días de edad y Mandy Lou 2 tiene 12 días de edad. Solamente se llevan por un día.
Wooden nests like Mandy Lou have been a big success story at Tambopata. Research here has shown that macaws can raise chicks in these just as well as they do in natural nests. The veterinarian takes detailed body measurements to determine how the chick is doing at this stage of development.
35.3.
Then Mandy Lou 2 is taken out and photographed next to its older sibling.
¿Es normal tener dos pichones?
No, no es normal. Normalmente tienen un pichón y los nidos con dos pichones no casi siempre se llegan a lograr los dos.
If you are a macaw chick, it's best to be a first hatched, because a macaw mom typically neglects those that hatch later.
So the first chick that hatches will receive all of her care. And then the second chick that hatches, if she has enough resources, she'll care for that chick. But chicks number 3 and 4 will usually die from starvation.
Even chick number 2 has at best a 50-50 chance of survival.
¿Cuál es tu opinión sobre cómo están desarrollando?
No se ve mucha la diferencia de tamaño. Puede que los dos lleguen a una mayor edad.
Entonces parecen
Saludables, así es.
saludables. Perfecto.
Today, both Mandy Lou chicks had a good checkup. There's a new kind of nest being tested out at Tambopata. It's made of cement-soaked burlap. Researchers want to see if it's more durable than wooden nests, which only last a couple of years in the jungle.
65, same as yesterday.
But today, things don't seem to be going well for these two chicks from the experimental nest. Neither show signs of being fed by their parents, and researcher Liz Pai Pai is concerned.
But maybe it's because it's just the beginning of the day, so maybe they're going to come back from the clinic and they're going to feed them later on.
Time to get these chicks back home. Research after sundown at the center can be challenging. A generator provides electricity only 7 hours a day. A good headlamp is your best friend, along with your mosquito net to keep unwanted guests out of bed. And during mealtime, you have to keep an eye out for the occasional thief. This one targeted our Techno crew.
Pretty good, yeah?
This macaw is Inocencio, who nests near the center with his mate, Chuchui. They are both scarlet macaws, a species that can live to the ripe old age of 50 in the wild. Scarlet macaws are doing well here, but endangered in other regions. In Mexico, less than 250 survived in the wild as of 2013, the result of illegal pet trade and habitat loss. Inocencio has little fear of humans. That's because a little over 20 years ago, he and 19 other scarlet macaw chicks were chosen to be raised by hand at the center, then released into the wild. The macaws participating in the study are known as the chicos.
The ones that these researchers saw were going to die, they removed them from the nests and raised them here.
What was the purpose?
Macaws were disappearing because the illegal pet trade was booming. Macaws were at a really high demand in North America and in Europe. They wanted to see if reintroduction of macaws was a viable option to save some of these populations.
The study was a success. More than half of the scarlet macaws released survived at least 7 years in the wild.
Some of these macaws still stick around the area, and those macaws are the most aggressive with us because they have no fear of humans.
This morning, the team is doing a checkup on Inocencio and Chuchui's 2 chicks. But unlike wild macaws, these parents don't leave when Annie climbs to the nest. Getting chicks out when mom and dad are home, and home is more than 90 feet up, is challenging. Annie uses these paddles to gently push the adults out of the way. Then she places the chicks in the bucket and sends them down to researcher Liz Pai below.
Good looking baby.
Chicos can breed out of season because they have a ready supply of food year-round. They steal it or charm it out of humans at the center.
Bread and pancakes.
Bread and pancakes in these wild macaws.
Yes.
The extra food source also means chicos are more likely to raise more than one chick to adulthood.
Hair is proportional.
It was time for these little guys to go back to their parents and Annie to come down.
After seeing the researchers reach heights and views normally only the macaws get to see, I figured time for me to give it a shot. Woo! This is much harder than the researchers make it look. Whew. Oh. That's it. My hands are tired, my legs are tired. I'm out of breath. I'm a little bit sweaty. Oh. But the view, it's all worth it.
There are 2 more chicks that need their checkups today from the nest called Hugo.
Huge.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
Wow.
You look like a proper macaw.
You look so different than the last babies we saw.
Hugo 1 is a little over a month away from being ready to fledge or take its first flight. More than a teacup is needed to hold this bird as it's weighed.
I don't bite.
By this age, the wings and the feet are almost the size of an adult.
Estás en... Yeah.
So the climber up top just yelled down saying that she saw a lightning strike and she thinks there's a storm about 10 or 15 minutes away. Obviously not good to be at the top of a tall tree during a lightning storm, and these macaws don't do well in the rain, so it's time to hurry up.
Okay, just pray not to be hit by it.
A few more photos and it's time to bring out Hugo 2. While a nest with 2 healthy chicks is rare, I was lucky enough to see several, including these 2 guys.
They look so different. 3 days?
Yeah.
Siempre nos da muestras.
Feces sample, easy.
Use it for science.
Veterinarian Elizabeth Portuguez is also going to take a crop sample from this bird to get an idea of its diet. The crop is this bulge, where they store food before digesting.
She just put some lubricant on the tube so that it can pass through the throat of the macaw comfortably.
That wasn't so bad, huh? You're gonna help save macaws everywhere.
So basically in the first 15-30 days of its life, this will be quite red from all the clay that it eats. But once it's this age, their diet varies a lot more. So this, all fruit and all good stuff.
Research on a macaw's diet helps scientists see how the rainforest is critical to their survival. A quick swab to make sure the macaw's mouth is clean and a good checkup for this macaw is done.
That is amazing. Look at those wings.
Macaws are known as umbrella species. Making the right conservation decisions to protect them means protecting the countless other species and the special habitat they call home. And right now, this habitat here in the Tambopata National Reserve is thriving. Researchers report that all of the chicks we saw have now fledged, even the two in the experimental cement nest. And each success here offers hope for struggling macaw populations throughout the tropics.
What we're looking at right now is absolutely one of the most incredible wonders of the natural world. Unbelievable.
When it comes to studying creatures living inside the Amazon rainforest, Tambopata is about as good as it gets.
This gorgeous creature is a juvenile red-tailed boa, and it looks so fresh because it just shed its skin.
Brimming with forest and life, there are likely thousands of species yet to be discovered. And that's where I come in. Techno first visited here in 2013 to look at this spider I helped discover.
It's a tiny spider disguised as a big spider.
Shut up.
That was the first animal recorded to actually build a fake animal from scratch. We also went to solve what was making this mysterious structure we call silkhenge. These discoveries were talked about around the world, like here online at Reddit, even on MSNBC, which compared my discovery to the hairstyle of a New York City celebrity.
Or perhaps the inspiration for Donald Trump's hair.
Back in Tambopata, it was time to check in on the spiders and more. First up, the decoy spider. After searching the forest at night, we came upon one just meters away from the research center, and were able to document it for the first time ever in the act of actually building the fake spider and catching prey. Consider this a success in my book. But not all of fieldwork is guaranteed success. Sometimes the forest has its own plan. A moonlit boat ride to a nearby island to take a crack at solving another Amazon mystery.
Last year, I led an expedition to this island to solve the mystery of silkhenge.
And despite a few hours search, an area in which I'd previously found many turned up completely empty. Frustrating, but all part of the process. But not all was lost on this island visit. I encountered one of the few species out there that even scares me, and had to document it for a colleague's research project. Meet the wandering spider, the deadliest spider in South America.
One of the ways you can tell it's a wandering spider is by the color underneath its front legs. So I'm gonna tap it a little bit, see if it gets defensive. It should lift them up. I take the shot, I get out of here.
The next day, tracking down a recent discovery that really has me excited. a never-before-seen butterfly and ant interaction I hadn't been able to solve despite several attempts.
Coming back to Peru, I had no idea if I would ever see this butterfly again, but I just spent 3 hours observing it and already learned so many amazing new things. The scientist in me couldn't be happier.
Here's how it works. It all starts on young bamboo plants. First, the butterfly lays the eggs, then the ants get involved. The caterpillar stage of the butterfly actually feeds the ants out of a specialized gland, and in return, the ants protect it, even from us. But what's new here and what happens nowhere else in the world occurs once that caterpillar develops into the butterfly stage. These butterflies actually trick the ants and steal their liquid food coming out of the bamboo. Ants normally eat butterflies, not share a meal with them. These butterflies likely trick them by smelling like ant, but even more unique, they look like them too. The wings of the butterfly have a pattern of an ant hidden within, only revealed when we saw them in the wild. To top it off, we caught a butterfly actually taking food right out of the mouth of an ant, something also never documented before. With this behavior recorded, I knew I wasn't coming home empty-handed. Science like this helps us understand the wild world around us and the importance of protecting individual species which may influence another. After one last jungle stroll into the night, I had all but forgotten about not finding silkhenge the night before. When miles from where it should be, this happened.
Well, this is completely unexpected. End of my trip here in the Peruvian Amazon, I'm heading back to base to pack my bags, and I turn to my right and look what I finally found.
This is the rainforest. Wild, unexpected, always a challenge to understand. And though my time here is over, the macaw researchers and others will keep on hiking, climbing, and documenting their way through Tambopata.
Macaws as a group, some species are extremely endangered, others not so much. The ones that you guys were looking at, where do they fall?
So they fall kind of somewhere in the middle. Basically, a lot of their population is fairly well protected, and that's why this is such an amazing study site, because you see them as they should be. However, if you step outside of that in places like Central America, the same species is in a lot of trouble because they're regionally endangered. Things like the illegal pet trade is getting to them. Habitat loss is getting to them. So by understanding what is going on there, we can see what should be going on in other places.
For me, it was so exciting because, you know, I'm a chemist and a neurobiologist, and I work in a lab indoors in a very sterile environment. So this is a really great reminder for me that science really happens anywhere. And I mean, you guys have the entire rainforest as your laboratory. It's pretty cool.
I'll tell you, sometimes I'm out there and I envy the life in the lab because you guys can do repeated experiments. They are controlled. Out there in the rainforest, it's pretty hard to control stuff.
Not a controlled environment
it's
at all.
rough.
Yeah.
From climbing up to the canopy to look inside a macaw nest to watching butterflies and ants hang out in a way that has never been documented before, we here at TechKnow have the privilege of access to these types of stories from scientists all over the world. We'll bring you more next time. We'll see you then.
Dive deep into these stories and go behind the scenes at aljazeera.com/techno. Follow our expert contributors on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and more.